coding, I guess, did not transfer well to his computer.
Was not expecting that coming from you.
Alright. Many of us have been fooled by the pet industry to feed our cats a commercial dry and wet food diet because they market it as being nutritionally sound for them.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I can't see any of the words.
What?
What many people don't realize is that this diet is the leading cause for feline diabetes, obesity, kidney failure, and other degenerative diseases. Dry food is marketed as a balanced diet containing grain, fruit, vegetables, and meat. But the problem is that cats lack the necessary enzymes needed to digest the grain and vegetation that is the key filler in most dry food. Pet food companies try and rationalize their formulas by appealing to human needs and logic. For example, they suggest that cats need a balanced diet that comprises foods from the 5 major food groups. So, in other words, they want cats to eat like humans. Wet food is created to appeal to the human appetite. Not much thought is really put into what a cat might really need or want. You know, does your cat really care about Tuscany recipes? Between 1932 and 1940, a man by the name of Dr. Pottinger conducted an experiment to show the health benefits that are associated between feeding your cat a commercial or a raw food diet. Over 10 years, he studied 900 cats, so 3 generations of cats total, and he fed half of them, which we'll call Group A, a commercial diet, and the other half, Group B, a raw diet. So over 10 years, the cats being fed the commercial diet developed many more degenerative than Group B. Also, their average lifespan decreased a ton. And, you know, as you could guess, the cats in Group B were less prone to degenerative diseases, and their lifespan was typically longer. Despite the fact that in the recent past, a significant number of pets have gotten sick, and some have even died from commercial pet food. This was because a lot of the dry food, the grain, was contaminated. And, well, despite all that, most people don't really know what goes into commercial pet food, but I'm about to tell you. So, commercial canned and kibbled food is made primarily from the leftover waste materials from the production of human food. Chief among these materials is what comes from places known as rendering plants. A rendering plant is a place where every bit of slaughterhouse waste that's not fit for human consumption is sent. If you've ever read the label on the back of a bag of cat food or wet food, you probably saw some interesting words like meat meal or meat digest. And what you're looking at are some carefully chosen and seemingly innocuous euphemisms for what are in fact the rather more sinister end products that come from the rendering process. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into rendering plants that probably shouldn't end up there. This is just a partial list. So everything gets ground down into a mush, and it's either put into a can or it's baked at a really high temperature, rendering it basically nutritionless and, made into kibble. Huge pet food conglomerates regularly combine this dead crud with a bunch of cheap grains and grain byproducts such as mill flour sweepings and leftovers from breweries like brewer's grain, brewer's yeast. And then they throw in a few essential nutrients to make up for the lack thereof, and the kibble is coated in an animal digest spray, which makes these normally unappealing nuggets very addictive to cats. And what they end up with is the makings for a very profitable end product. I bet a lot of you are wondering, if it's so bad, why have I never really heard of it? And the truth is that well-known companies such as Hills, which is the maker of Science Diet, regularly take a large chunk of their profits and donate to veterinary schools. They sponsor the nutrition classes, they write the textbooks, and what they end up with are some young vet students that right from the start of their education get gifts, perks, and incentives for pushing their product. And this ensures that they'll have thousands of very credible vets selling their product for generations to come. But despite all this, even if the companies provided a well-made food, it doesn't change the fact that cats are not built to eat a primary diet of grain and vegetables. Many of us, although we may have had cats all of our life, have probably failed to realize one really important thing about them, and that is that they're carnivores. In fact, they are actually obligate carnivores, which means that the nutrition they require to thrive must come from the meat, organs, and bones of the bodies of their prey. And because of the cat's particular anatomical and physiological design, the most ideal and natural way for them to consume this flesh is in its raw state. Because really, if you think about it, have you ever seen a cat, or let alone any animal in the wild, who has cooked their food? From the most petite cat to the fiercest lion, the feline traits are definitely unmistakable. Cats are equipped with superior eyesight, a keen sense of hearing, cute sense of smell, lightning-quick reflexes. Their strength is quite surprising for their size, and they have remarkable athleticism and agility. In fact, the cat occupies a place at and near the top of every single environment it inhabits. And this is because the cat's most natural instinct is for it to hunt and catch its prey. All carnivores, actually, whether they be sharks, raptors, polar bears, are made to eat and digest the raw meat, bones, and organs that make up whole carcasses of their prey. Feeding a carnivore a steady diet of anything that is cooked or canned is simply unnatural for the animal, and it puts a strain on the animal system. Such a chronic strain may often result in any number of the different kinds of health problems from which many domesticated animals suffer today. So I encourage you guys to all go home, put aside any squeamishness you might have about handling raw meat, and really take a look at what you're feeding your cat. Instead of commercial foods, you should use nature as a guide to preparing a raw diet. It's pretty simple to give felines the most appropriate diet that they need for being a carnivore, and at the same time you're affording them a myriad of health benefits that a natural diet of whole foods can provide. After just a few short weeks, you will see many changes in your cat, and literally in just a few weeks. Their coat will be shinier, won't have really any dander. Their teeth and gums will look healthier. The plaque buildup will start to decrease because the enzymes from the meat kind of work away at it. They are less lethargic, but most noticeably they'll lose a lot of their unnecessary fat and develop a really sleek, muscular build. I've been feeding my cats a raw diet for over 2 years now, and I will never go back. One of my cats used to be borderline obese, and now he looks very similar to that cat. I feel good knowing that he's getting the nutrition that he needs, and I'm providing him what would be natural for him in the wild.